Good afternoon, everybody. So yes, I am mic'd up. I feel a bit of a superstar. Actually, oh, that's working. Can you all hear me all right?
Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. All right, so yeah, delighted to be here this afternoon. Thank you, Anna, for the invitation, and Ian for putting me in the frame in the first place. So my name's Paula Appleton, and I also feel like I've come a little bit of a full circle today. Before I became the director of Evergreen Active CIC a couple of years ago, I'd actually spent over 20 years selling playground equipment to local authorities, to landscape architects, to groundwork trusts, and I was delighted, or a little bit nonplussed this morning when I turned up and I happened to be sat next to 3 people that I used to sell to, or at least try to sell to. I think one of you had a slide off me at some point, I'm sure. But so yes, I work for a playground equipment company. So I also had a young family. So I don't know if you can see a slight resemblance between us all on the screen there, but obviously they are my lot. My 2 daughters, Lucy and Ellie. So as I say, I spent a lot of my time in parks and open spaces. So I was either designing them, to take that to our design team to work up, surveying them. My design team said I didn't spend much time doing that, but or we were observing, or we were looking at, anyway, a lot of time in parks and open spaces. So I was very aware of how they were used, both in terms of the play areas and the parks as a wider space. But in 2009, my girls were 15 and 13, and they were wanting to use our local parks and open spaces to meet the mates, you know, hang out, sort of watch the lads, but again, not get involved in the skate park or the mugger, but to sit on that bench with their mates. And obviously my 2 didn't, but the rest of them, you know, drunk alcohol and smoked fags. My 2 didn't do any of that. I did have to go into the parks and catch them a couple of times. But of course it became, so from both a personal point of view and a professional point of view, it became very apparent that there was nothing in the parks. And this was the 27 and 29 now, so this is back in 2009. So there was nothing for them to do. So the girls would sit on the bench, they'd form a little kind of semicircle around, and they'd have a natter. They were in sight of the boys, they wanted to be in the same space as the boys, but there wasn't anything for them to do to engage physically. So the company that I worked for, I did go back to them, I did have a bit of a rant, and they did actually sort of indulge me a little bit, and there was a video made, a case study video, using my 2 daughters and their friends as the stars of the show. I'm not going to play it now, we haven't got time, but if anybody's interested from 2009, then please do feel free to Google that. But I'm so delighted to be here, sort of with a new hat on, although still kind of in a similar space. You know, I was talking to clients at this time about this thing, and everybody got it, but nobody had thought about it. And they were like, oh, do you know what, you're right, which would have been nice if anything had changed, but it didn't really. So it's brilliant now. I feel, for the first time in all that time, that actually something is going to change, and I'm confident that my 3 grandchildren will now see the benefit of that in years to come. So, Evergreen Active CIC, we are a community interest company based in Wakefield. We encourage people to be active, however that looks for them, on their doorstep, in their parks and open spaces, not just for the physical health and wellbeing benefits, but for the mental health benefits too. Being a CIC, we're somewhere between a charity and a private limited, so we can apply for funding. We're pretty much 100% dependent on funding. So we've done some great projects. We've got a team of volunteers, and in the Ossett and Horbury and Wakefield areas, central Wakefield areas of Wakefield, our volunteers lead running and walking groups every week, and we get somewhere between 70 to 140 different people each week at those meets. The majority are women, and the majority are between the ages of 29 and 58. So because we're already in those spaces, in February of last year we got a call from one of my runners who worked at the time at Well Women Clinic in Wakefield. Are you interested in helping Wakefield Council deliver a project for women and girls in parks and open spaces? I was like, I'm going to have to think about that. So anyway, made the contact, made the call, went in and met with our communities team, a member of our communities team in Wakefield Council, and she says, I've got £26,000 of Safer Communities funding from the Mayor of West Yorkshire to deliver against this project, helping to improve the confidence of women and girls in our parks and in 2 of our parks and open spaces. I don't know how to do that. I'm new in department, I don't really know, but I'm told that you do stuff like this, so would you help me? So I was like, I will help you, yes. But I knew that, obviously, there was absolutely no way. So obviously there was a time limit. So this was February. The project had to be completed by the end of May. 6 of that £26,000, luckily, was a project management element of the funding, which we were really, really pleased to see, because a lot of funding doesn't carry that, and these things don't happen on their own. Okay, so, and they certainly don't get evaluated and monitored on their own afterwards. I knew that even between my amazing group of volunteers, there was no way I was going to be able to do this on my own within the time frame. So I called in 5 other female-led local organisations, and I just said, right lads, we've got a job to do. So we all met up, and between us we were able to create a timetable that included all of those things there. So boxercise, walk to talk, boogie walk, you can see it there, running for beginners, yoga. We wanted to really kind of give as broad a range of activities as possible to attract these women into the parks. So this is why the project management fee is handy. Okay, these were, so we ended up, so the initial brief was, we want you to work out of Thorns Park and Pugneys. So Thorns Park is Wakefield's kind of central city park, lovely park. It's got equipment, it's got a lake, it's got open spaces, play areas, everything. And Pugneys, which is a country park, slightly nearer to the M1. Again, lovely country park, which was great, but these parks were only a mile apart. Now, there's over 135,000 women between the ages of, I think it's 12 and 90 in the Wakefield district. And the Wakefield district is huge. And so they weren't all going to be, these women and girls weren't all going to be within this 1 mile radius. So we went back and we said, look, all of these organisations that are going to deliver this with us are across the district. We've got people in Upton in the southeast, we've got people in Ossett in the north towards Kirklees. And we're already established there, they're already known and trusted in their own areas. Please could we use the nearest parks and open spaces to them so that we reach as broad a range of women as possible on their doorsteps with something that they can do with people that they already know. And luckily the answer was yes. So we did. All right, so the response was really great. If I get a chance at the end, I've got some learnings around marketing and participation engagement. But obviously, so we ended up having these sessions over 8 weeks. Between us, we were delivering 5 to 7 sessions of all those different things over the course of the 8 weeks. And we were delighted. We had over 830 attendances at those sessions in the 8 weeks. So right from the go-get, it was an average of just over 100 women and girls a week at those sessions, which blew us away. So obviously we asked them for the feedback, and so the project was to help improve the confidence of women and girls to use their parks and open spaces more confidently, to be more active. So we were blown away by the response, the positive response there. So we asked for a little bit more detail. I'll just let you read those. Okay, see the word safe coming up there. Safe environment. Oh, bless So this one for me is the, you know, this lady says what better tonic, we say what better feedback, because that is, you know, absolutely 100% what we hoped that would be the feeling and the response to these events. Okay. So yeah, our learnings. Collaboration was absolutely crucial. We are obviously part of the Wakefield third sector community, CIC. That's another story, but we're actually chair of the third sector leaders group now. And part of that reason was because we felt that in Wakefield, there's such an amazing amount of work goes on within the third sector, I will never deny it. We're doing a lot of it. No, I'm joking. But a lot of it's quite traditional. There's a lot of organisations that have been there a long time, run by the same CEOs, and sometimes there can be a bit of a silo feeling. It's just like, oh, we're getting that fund and we're just going to keep it to ourselves, and even if it's not massively successful, that's been our money. We're not interested in that. We want, you know, that 26,000 and 20,000 that we had to deliver, we didn't spend it all, and I hate it when that happens. We tried, we really, really tried, but we didn't spend it all. But we think that the bang for the buck of what we did do with those sort of attendances, you know, we were really pleased with, and that's what we want. And if that took working with 5 other organisations, then why would you not? Collaboration is absolutely crucial, and especially in this context, there's so many different organisations and practices in the room, but we've all got this common interest and this common goal, and we absolutely can work together. Marketing, we were all so sick of Facebook by the end of this project. It was awful. Facebook fatigue is a thing, but it was absolutely necessary. I would say 97% of the people that came to the sessions was as a result of seeing them on Facebook specifically, across all the social media platforms. We did do some hard copy flyers, and actually I don't know if there's anybody here from kind of social prescribing, but we thought that actually that would be quite a quick win. So we distributed these flyers, obviously sort of into organisations local to the parks we were working out of, but also into our local social prescribing organisation. We thought, you know, there's got to be some commonality here. This is going to be great for a lot of people that are trying to access your services. We didn't get one referral from social, which we feel was quite a missed opportunity actually, and we would probably want to have a more robust conversation with them prior to anything like this happening again. But there's definitely commonality. Communication, again, between us, between the organisations involved, were great. You know, we supported each other, celebrated each other and so on. Again, just sort of in terms of third sector, what I did find, and this might be something that goes back to Wicker and to Tracy, was that I know we've been directly funded as a third sector organisation from Mayor's Fund before. This seemed to, because it came through the local authority, who then kind of gave it to us to project manage, there was a lack of ownership here. And so, again, that was maybe something to think about. There was issues that if we get time, I'll kind of come back to there that could have delayed and hampered the project. So I will end with this. There were other observations, but I think we're going to have time at the end to double back on these. So I'll just end with some photos of some of our amazing women and girls. As you can see there, the outdoor yoga went really, really well. There was talks, this was running for beginners. Boxercise was really popular. The minute you ask ladies to visualise somebody when they're punching pads, I didn't ask questions. Self-defence we had, which again was absolutely brilliant. Coverage in the press. And this one was probably one of my favourites. It wasn't mine, it was done in Upton by an organisation called Blessed Community Services. She devised a menopause mayhem walk, which I can only tell you lived 100% up to its name. It was a hoot, and you can only imagine the conversations that were had. during those walks, but actually really, really helpful to the ladies that attended. So I'd just like to say thank you for your time, and feel free to ask me any questions at the end.